Hello again, everybody. We are back with the epic diagonal peen hammer, whatever you want to call it. I was getting a little creative with the titles because unfortunately sometimes that helps. But anyway, we are working on a handle for this thing, and we need a wood that is stout because that is a stout hunk of metal we're going to be swinging around, and we certainly don't want a handle breaking right in the middle of using it. That would be no fun. I would just get all mad, start throwing things. It just wouldn't be cool. I'd be out here looking like a 3-year-old. So what we're doing, this is a block of ash firewood, and this is the same style blocks I was making all our pegs out of for the barn. So what we have done, we have split a piece off of this, and right now we are just using the draw knife to get this thing shaped out. Now, why use a draw knife? I could just as easily take this thing into the lathe, put it on the lathe, and turn this out probably in less than a quarter of the time as it's going to take me to use the draw knife. Which really, to be honest with you, that's really not quite true. A draw knife, if it is good and sharp, and you know what you're doing with it, it can work extremely fast. It can leave you nice, smooth stuff if you know what you're doing. And it's also a much better way to make a stronger handle hold off on the hate mail, because I'm going to explain why. So this piece is pretty straight, but it's not perfectly straight. And there is one swell in here from where it must have grew around a knot or something like that. Now if I were to put this piece on the lathe, I would have spots, especially down here, to where I would be going across the end grain, stuff like that, or across layers of grains. And when you do that, you actually weaken the structure of the wood and for what you're using it for. The strongest piece, the strongest handles out there, some of your strongest, really some of the strongest stuff made out of wood is done by riving. And when you rive something, you're staying within the growth rings normally. Sometimes you come across them, and you'll notice when you're cutting across them, it is much harder to do. It's a lot easier to stay within the growth ring, and you end up with a stronger handle or whatever it is you're making. So that's kind of the whole reason behind using the draw knife. So all I do, I get it close, and then, I don't know if you could see where it's a little darker on that end. I know it's kind of bright. So all I do, I get it close, and then I start very carefully working it down through, pound it in a little bit, get my marks, and then I start shaving down to those marks, and we work it until we get it back all the way to where it will seat where I want it to where we have enough room to wedge it. Keep in mind the inside of any hammer is going to be hourglass shaped, so it's going to be narrower in the middle, and it's going to flare out at the top and the bottom. And what that allows us to do when we wedge it, it gives a space for that wood to move, and it holds it in place. But so yeah, that's what we have. That's what we're working on. So we're going to get back to it. We'll be out here all night with the draw knife, and we'll just see what happens. Now I do have a shaving horse upstairs. I'm being lazy. This is a very comfortable position. It's held in very well. When we get the upper half of the handle worked out, I'll use the head to hold it in the vise, and then we'll work on the bottom half. But right now I'm more concerned with getting the top worked out and getting this to where everything will fit for us. So there's a lot of shaving down to do. Again, we work it down. And I'm using ash because it's what I had kicking around that was dry enough. It's fairly easy to work. I mean, it's not the easiest to work, but it's not too bad. And I'm actually cutting a little deeper with this because I'm using this with the bevel down. Keep in mind, like I said, nice sharp draw knife. You should be able to shave hair with this thing. Reason being, if you have a dull draw knife and you get to the end and you're yanking this thing out, your guts right there, you have a good shot of hitting yourself there. And it just goes, you know, the old saying, dull tools are a lot more dangerous than razor sharp ones. But all you're doing, you're just taking your time, little bits at a time, because it's real easy to go too far using this method. But to be honest with you, it works very well. You can get a really nice tight fit this way. Now when you get closer to your mark, you flip the draw knife over. And you use it the opposite way. Remove much less material that way. Because the draw knife is not digging in as deep as it normally would when you're using it beveled down. Same reasoning behind using a chisel or something like that. Now you can make round shapes pretty easily with one of these. Anytime you get a line or a ridge from a flat spot, you just shave that ridge down. Before you know it, you've got a nice circle sitting there. Tell you what, this thing is harder than woodpecker lips. This piece has been aging or drying probably close to 4 years. There we go, 7 pounds, 3.75 ounces. I tell you what, you know what, swinging it. I can tell you that. Well, there's the mighty Thor forging hammer in action and used tonight. So 7 pounds, 3.75 ounces. It is definitely a beast for single hand use, but I tell you what, I just drew a piece of metal out. I tell you what, with the little hammers I was using, gosh, that was taking half the night to do that before, and I just did that in a couple of heats, or what, 3 or 4 heats. Usually it's probably 10 just to get to that point, so definitely going to save me some time. Now, if it saves me energy, we will see. That remains to be seen, but it's actually not too bad to swing. I'm noticing I have to choke up on it a little bit more than I want to, but that's all right. Just, you know, let the weight of the hammerhead do the work. So we put a white ash handle on it. It's not the prettiest handle in the world, but it's on there. It's good and strong. This is the same material that we made the pegs for the barn out of. So yeah, I'm happy with it. So that's it. That's our big damn hammer. BFH, as some would call it. And if I wasn't on camera, I'd be saying the full acronym, but that's okay. So anyway, had a couple of comments lately on the Wednesday Rewind videos. Some of you don't like seeing them. Just keep in mind that every Wednesday I'm going to be putting up a Rewind video. There's thousands of viewers that came along to this channel well after we started this build, and those videos are harder to find. Plus it keeps, in all transparency and all honesty, it keeps those videos still ranking a little bit higher in the timber framing searches, because for those of you who don't upload YouTube videos and you're not sure how the system works, if you break away from your niche a little bit, it's very hard to get back on suggested videos, things like that. So there's a little bit of method to the madness there. It helps me maintain that niche that I've built on this channel over the last couple of years until we get to the next timber framing project. And like I said, there's a lot of folks that missed a lot of that information. So if you guys have been with me from the beginning and you've seen these rewind videos and you want to know when we're going to finish this damn thing up, well, let me we'll have a moment of maybe too much information. I don't share this too often because frankly it's nobody's business, but you know, I like my audience, my loyal viewers. You guys have kept this thing going for a long time, so you deserve some explanation sometimes why you're waiting for something to be done. So when I fell last year and we got hurt and I missed, what, 5 months of work, that really put a hurting on everything really bad. I mean, it didn't just hurt the progress on this building, it didn't just hurt the work I was able to do, it just about sank us financially. So I went from a very good steady paycheck down to like $200 a week on disability, and it really put us in a bad jam, really bad. So we're still recovering from that, and it's actually going to be a few years. I mean, this whole ordeal was, I think, like $150,000, and thank God I have decent insurance, but still a lot of things that kind of crept in there and made it. It wasn't good, I'll tell you that. It just wasn't good. Now we're doing a lot of work inside the house, and that's so we can do some things financially to kind of restructure, you know what I mean, try to get out from under. But it would probably cost me, if I went and bought the boards right now, maybe $150 to close the rest of this building up. So what I have to do is go tear a building down to get the boards from somebody that I know they want the building gone. And I would rather not do it because I don't have time to do that kind of thing. But unfortunately, it's what we have to do to finish this, to get this thing totally closed in and to frame out the rooms in here that I'd like to frame out. So again, I don't really have to explain myself to anybody. It is what it is, but I don't mind explaining a little bit because, like I said, a lot of you guys who've been with me from the beginning are a little frustrated as to why we're pretty well stalled out on this project. I mean, I still have to get power out here. I've been trying to figure out a way to get the materials for power, and it's going to cost me $300-400 to run it out from the house, put a panel box, things like that, and unfortunately we just don't have it right now. But hopefully as we get making things and we're cleaning this little financial mess up, it'll be easier to get back on this and finish it. Before snow flies, we will definitely have it closed up because I'm not going through another winter with this back wall open, and I really want to get the forging area closed in, its own separate room. We have an exhaust fan to put in, which I already have. I got that for free. We have a lot of different stuff to put in here, and fortunately I have a lot of that material. But first things first, really need to get power out here because I really need to get my welder out here, things like that, because that's holding me up on a lot of projects, and we definitely have to get this back wall closed in. So anyway, enough of that good stuff. I just thought I'd throw that out there. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you on the next one.